Original can be defined as 1. Existing from the beginning, i.e. the first or the earliest. 2. Produced first hand, not a copy. And 3. Inventive or novel. Now, what do people say? Recolours are not original. There's a common term that's been rising on the internet for how many years, and people have come to the conclusion that recolours are not. Now, for those that actually do recolours, I believe that they are deluded, in that they have deluded themselves in thinking they are original, as I side with the people who say they are not, because I can show clear evidence that genuinely they do not seem to be original, as people claim. Now, there are two sides to this argument. There's unoriginal character design, and then unoriginal character trait, and those two things add up to make an original recolored character. Now, if we start with the process of recoloring an unoriginal design, we can basically say that recoloring requires taking a screenshot from the show Sonic X, or taking a sprite from a Sonic game, whether it be the Genesis series games or the Advanced series games, and therefore proceeding to edit the color and the facial features, but also adding in with discretion clothing and extras such as weapons, as an example. Now, why is recoloring as a process unoriginal? The problem is that if you take a character and edit its color, the facial features, accessories that may be visible on the character, that doesn't mean it's a new character, neither does it mean that it's original. I mean, first of all, you don't own the original drawing, therefore you can't exactly create an original character from that standing point. But even still, when you can identify a character that is already pre-existing, that has been recolored, how can you claim originality? I'm going to show you a picture here. In the top left you can see a purple Tails, in the top right a black Knuckles, and at the bottom an orange Sonic. If I can identify those three characters as Tails, Knuckles and Sonic, three pre-existing characters created by people at the company Sega, then you cannot say your picture is original if I can identify these characters as pre-existing and owned by somebody else. If you refer back to the second definition that I added when I said define original, it says produce first hand, not a copy, meaning that if I can identify that orange character, I don't know its name, it's a recolor, like I care. If I can identify that character as originally Sonic the Hedgehog, that means it's a copy and not produced first hand. Therefore, it can be deemed unoriginal. Now, why are they deluded, if you want to say that, into believing that it's original? They'll come up with arguments like, it's my design and I made these characters, or that I made the character to resemble who I wanted to resemble out of my own mind's creation. But the problem is that even though you can say it doesn't resemble Sonic the Hedgehog, it's a mishmash of God knows what, since it's an edit of the Sonic the Hedgehog character, you can still tell who it is. I guarantee you type in Sonic Recolors on the internet and most of the pictures you'll see, you're obviously going to know is Sonic Recolor, even if it didn't have the word Sonic the Hedgehog. Even if you were shown a recolor of Sonic the Hedgehog without anybody saying, oh, this is a Sonic recolor, somebody just says, here's a recolor, who's that character? They won't say, oh, that's the character that is given the name, that's the recolored character's name. They'll say, that's Sonic the Hedgehog recolored to look like another character. Again, unoriginal. They also think that because it's edited to their preference, that now it's original. See, because I changed the character around to look like how I wanted it to look, oh, it's an original character, it's new, it's fresh, nobody has done it before. But again, But again, it's a copy. It's not produced first hand. It's copying somebody else's work and editing it. As long as that second definition states that produced first hand, not a copy, is therefore unoriginal. It's taken the first definition of original, which is something existing from the beginning, i.e. the first or earliest copy of, say, a piece of artwork, i.e. Sonic the Hedgehog, and copying it, pasting it, and then adding to it as if it was their own, which unfortunately it isn't. Then you have this idea of backstory and the unoriginality sound surrounding it. This is when they say, finally, they've created their character. They say, oh yes, now I've created Moronic the Hedgehog. What is so special about him? Now they're adding to a backstory like, oh, I am Sonic's long lost brother, or Eggman burnt down my village and I want to get revenge on him. Like, what is the point in that? Haven't we seen those sort of storylines before, just not even unrelated to Recolours? It's been done 1,000 times. Then you have the Mary Sue type characters. Mary Sue's are basically characters with no inherent problems whatsoever, that are basically perfect, and basically you would really hate them in real life because they tried to enhance the fact that they're perfect, when if people were perfect it really would be an extremely boring world. That's just the thing. Then you have the characters that are made to be exceptionally powerful and more powerful than Sonic and beat the crap out of him. Is that all your character is good for? I mean, sure, you can make a character, but what's the point in making a character to be stronger than the main character that you would have in your fan fiction, and then say make it so that your new your fan created character beats the crap out of, say, Sonic the Hedgehog? It's like, well, that doesn't make for good storytelling. That's just pointless bullshit. But then also you have the ones that say they have their completely new character and basically create this whole fanfic, but still within the Sonic mythos. If you're going to go as far as to create characters and backstories, why do you need the Sonic myth? Why do you need the whole Sonic sort of say Earth? Why do you need to use Sonic the Hedgehog as your basis for that? It seems you have the ability to think and create a story, even if it's somewhat unoriginal, and you have the ability to create characters. What, do you really need Sonic as a starting point? If you've got that far, you're only taking more steps backwards than you are forwards. Now, why it seems pointless and unoriginal, as said before, the stories have done before. They add nothing new. It makes no difference to what's been done 1,000 times before. Who wants to hear it again? Then, if it's a Mary Sue character, they're mostly self-inserted fantasy personas. There are people who are basically they're basically taking their life and removing all of the bad bits out and leaving in the good bits, so it creates a story. But who wants to hear a story about a perfect character? Good characters are well-rounded because they have problems. There are things that make them good and there are things that make them bad. Without these inherent problems, your character is basically boring. Think, say, the character of Bella from the book Twilight. She's as boring as hell and nobody likes her for that reason. But Twilight I'll get into on another day. I'm serious, I will do something on that. But anyway, then you have, what is the point in creating a character to beat the crap out of Sonic or overpower him? I don't exactly see the point of that. A lot of them have this, oh, I want to prove my power and all of that. So